Hello everybody, this is Indian Rash and today I answer another question of Chronic Spartan who is working on Gym Empire. Basically he's interested what should he include into his early access release and what are those features who should be there after the early access has started already. He were talking with a lot of people on Reddit after my last video, and he got a lot of good ideas feature wise. So let's talk about it coming up. As in my early access video, I mentioned that basically the reason going into early access is getting feedback, right? And making the users, the customers, your potential customers, becoming a part of the development process. You can get a lot of good ideas, they can help you with the balancing stuff. It's a really useful thing for small teams, for indies. But you know, first of all, when you have an idea, I said in earlier videos that you must put it out there as soon as you can so people can talk about it, people can give you credit that they're interested in your idea at the first place. And of course, they will give you a lot of ideas. So what should you include into your first early access release? What should you implement before going into the early access phase? I would say the original aims of early access and the original requirements of early access are still there. So first of all, the game must be completely playable. People have to be able to start it easily, set it up easily. The game shouldn't have any bugs, and they have to be able to complete it. Basically, they need a complete experience of your game. I would say if you had a lot of ideas and those guys put you a lot more, first of all, you should put your own ideas into the game, because it's you, the developer, who thought through those ideas, who measure the system, who sees the whole big picture. Those guys could have really nice ideas, and if they are fitting your vision, your concept, and you have the resource, the time to implement them, go for it, sure. But I would put into the game before the early access phase primarily my own stuff. Okay, because this will give a coherent and really stable, really rounded core experience for them if you plan your game right. And probably you are the one who can plan it out right, and not your potential customers who can't really imagine what's in your head right now. After the early access phase started, you can implement their ideas, and it has another good message for them. It will make them more likely feel that they are part of the development process. You will get much more players after you release your game. So let's say you posted it on Reddit and 100 guys told you things. That's a lot. But when you release your game using the same game marketing techniques that I mentioned earlier, you will get a big audience, and that big audience will have even much more feedback, but more likely, you know, if there is something that should be there in your game and you didn't plan it into your game originally, they will mention it more likely. So what I mean that from that 100 people, if 20 mention that you should put there, I don't know, a new weapon, or in the case of Gym Empire, let's say they wanna see competitions in the game and you didn't plan to put it there originally, it's more likely that with this amount of people talking about that at the start, more people will talk about it during the early access. And if you put this feature into your game during the early access, they will be more satisfied because they will feel it was their idea and not your idea. It's only psychology, you know. People really like being part of something. Also, I would say if you don't have infinite time to create your game, that basically means if you are not a hobbyist, in that case you really must include the most important things into your first release of the game that you put out into early access, because you know, if your game fails to get the attention, if you feel like that your original measurement of interest in your game was false, and you feel like you couldn't sell enough copies from that game, well, you must know it before you put out your game into early access. Or no, not you must know it before putting out your game early access, but you must know it as soon as you can, and probably you will see it during the early access. If you wasn't able to sell, I don't know, in the first month of your game at least 500 or 1000 copies, that's already way too bad for you, man. And you must reduce the cost of your game, or you have to plan out something really big, something really refreshing to get more sales. If you want to be financially successful in the game developer. Again, if you're a hobbyist, you can do whatever you'd like to do. It doesn't matter really. It's just fun. But if you need the money, you must think about that. And also, if you go into the early access phase earlier, you will get more money, more likely, because your game will be out sooner and it will have a longer early access period. So I would say put the most important things into your first release, and only extend it with others' ideas later on. Basically, that's what I did with Computer Tycoon, and so far it worked really well. I had this base idea that makes the game special, and this is basically that you have this grand strategy aspect, the world map, and the randomness mode, and the computer design and research concept, that you can put a lot of real world research into your own projects in the game. And this is why Computer Tycoon is special, because this is the first grand strategy and management hybrid, and this is the first game about computer evolution. If I would start with the things that I think are still important but doesn't make the game new and special, they couldn't make my game stand out from the crowd as much as I was able to make it happen right now. I think that's all. That's my point about what you should put into early access and what you shouldn't put into early access. Still, remember, your vision is the first. Don't accept ideas that will make your game more similar to other games at the first place. But if you are thinking it's a good thing, go for it. But put it into the game after you made the first release. That's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Please follow me on Twitter. Push the subscribe button. Push the thumbs up button. And if you have questions, I'm here. I'm more than happy to answer them. Still, I'm practicing English. Maybe I'm getting better slowly. At least I can talk more fluidly, I guess. But we will see. Learning a language is hard. See you soon.